sometimes it's nice to have these recorded. Okay, so we're here today to just celebrate the new year and to stick up our Wonder Woman arms at, we want to be more anti-diet culture, and just really acknowledging the fact that it is being thrown in our face hard right now for the next, if it hasn't already been for the last 30 days, it's going to be now for the next at least 30 days. Make new resolutions, new year, new you, all of that bullshit that gets thrown directly in our faces. So I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to offer encouragement. I have a beautiful, like just maybe a 15-minute meditation for us, just to invite love and compassion towards our bodies instead of shame and all the other stuff that kicks up on January 1st. And the very first thing I would love to say is that don't feel like you have to make a New Year's resolution, period, but specifically this year, because there has been such an energetic shift this year anyways, where we have been through so much growth, so much stretching, so much shifting and changing, good and bad, high and low, all these things. Don't feel like you have to do that now. Like maybe we just need to honor this weird little pause in between to go, that's done. Just let it like feel that little bit of grief of, whew, that happened. And there's nothing that magically happens. I wrote a post about that yesterday of what really is the difference between the 31st and the 1st. What really? I don't know. A little bit of mindset, a little bit of maybe permission to let go that idea that, okay, everybody's doing this, so we're all just going to put it behind us now and trudge forward. So don't feel like you have to do that today. I'm all like, I love vision boards. I love vision mapping. I'm not doing mine today. I'm just letting it be. Let's just have a day where we can go, okay. And when it feels right and true, then maybe that's time to like look at some different things that you would like to welcome in. I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, if you want.
Last year I started doing, or I did the Danielle Laporte, her, what is the book? Well, it's not coming to me. But she talks a lot about, I had a word for the year. So a lot of exploring how the previous year went and the words associated to that and how you want the next year to look, but just give it a word. And my word was balance. And even though 2020 like sucked and I struggled to find anything good in the year, I think that in a way I did find balance that was different than in 2019 that I was struggling with. So I like the one word. My word for this year is grounded. So yeah, that's a big one. But I like the one word because it feels less like heavy, like something you have to work on every day. It's something that just happens. You can manifest it or you can work toward it in baby steps, however, whatever direction you want to take. It's so much more doable, I think.
Yeah, I love that. Love it. Good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel very motivated, more so than ever, to start doing some harder things now that I feel like I have been through a year that surprised me in a lot of ways and asked of me things that I didn't realize I was capable of doing. And I feel like time marches on, despite anything else that is happening around me or to me. Time has continued to march on, and I view this this new year as and as we begin to have talk of these vaccinations, it really feels like, and at post solstice seems like a brightening, like ever so slowly, ever so indistinguishably. Like I remember those moments last year and in previous years where I realized that the light is slowly coming back. And I feel that way overall, but I also feel in that process this invitation to just be open to it, but not rush it, and to trust. So like I'm very motivated, but in a place of more centeredness than I've ever been.
Yeah. Yes.
We'll see. No, but like for real. And you and I talked on the phone about it yesterday. Like I'm just ready. I'm just ready to like put my Gina did hard things again.
Yeah.
And survived into practice for applying them to a life that is not promised to me in length, but that I have control over in quality and mindset and viewpoint. And so I'm ready to get rid of I'm finally brave enough to let go of the biggest things that I carry with me, which is body image stuff. And so I really do. I'm ready. Like I say, great new year. Suck it 2020. Yeah. I did you already.
Yeah, and I think we should pause and acknowledge that, like we did that, and whether we want to recognize it or not, I think it is really building resilience in us, and even in these very subtle ways, because now we can look back and go, look at all the hard things that I just went through, and I think there's something really beautiful about that. And on top of energetic shifts, Gina and we talked a little yesterday also about, I feel that there is this big feminine energy arising of this year where there's been so much shift of the patriarchy and the things, and right. And I feel like now it's our time to like let ourselves be in that feminine energy. And sometimes that feels really easy and sometimes it doesn't, because feminine is viewed as weak energy or soft energy, but it's not. It's that deep, powerful, go deep, like water, right? And think about just like when I vision that, I think Lake Michigan is feminine because it's like this big, powerful, ever-changing, creates change in this like soft way, though, the way it wears away at things too. So I don't know. I think there's really beautiful things ahead. And what a great time for us then to like allow that energy to be acknowledged within us and around us, and to go, it's time to like let my feminine home, my body, be acknowledged also. All right, well, I'm going to give you 3 tips. I have a list here, but I just wanted to put out a few tips so that if you decide to never talk to me ever again, or do no other work with me the whole rest of the year, that you have something. And so, number 1, acknowledge diet culture for what it is, that it's culture. Our culture is ever changing. And so you're set up immediately for failure because it's going to change again. So you think you're striving after one thing that's right, and it's going to change. If you look at culture over even 100 years of what the right type of body was, it changed and it changed and it changed. What is sexy, what is beautiful, what is healthy, it changes and changes and changes. So you're immediately set up for failure because that's what makes them money. And so remember that culture is culture, that it actually has very little to do with you, and they're just messing with you, and it's so messed up. They're messing with us. And so remember that culture is culture. And there's some great videos on that also that if you'd like they're just little YouTube videos, but I think they're great visuals of how looks have changed even since, if you go way back, there's one that I love on YouTube, but just the way back of, here's what used to be the right type of body, and here's what was beautiful, and here's the women that were painted, and right, all this idea. So it's ever changing, and there's a standard that you will not likely reach. You might for a minute, but then it's going to change again. So culture is culture. Number 2, look at yourself as a whole person. Look at your whole. We get so fixated on parts, and good parts and bad parts and hot parts and not hot parts. View yourself as a whole. And I talk about this specifically in a mini training that I do about sex in the body, because there are likely areas of your body that you want covered, or you choose different positions or things like this to hide and to protect. And so view yourself as a whole person instead of just going, oh, my butt or my arms or my boobs, or let yourself know that your body is your home. It's your container of the essence of you and who you really are. And that even goes deeper than what our moms probably always told us, oh, beauty is on the inside. Well, sure it is, but this is really like the essence of your spirit, who you are and how you want to show up. So your body, that's also ever changing. If you haven't figured it out yet, we're getting older. And our body's going to keep changing. Our body's going to change as we go through age, and if we go through illness, if we go through injury, all these different things, it's ever changing. And so it's how you want to show up as the essence of who you are. So whole person, not parts. And let's see, I'll pick another of my favorite ones. I would say, I'll say two more because I like all of them. Appreciate your body for all that it can do. When we're viewing ourselves very simply in that idea that our body is a whole, but finding things, because we're not always going to have body love. That's like just, I wish there was a magic wand that said, today you have now spoken with me, and I wave my fairy godmother wand at you, and you will now for the rest of your life have body love. I'm sorry, I'm not that kind of magician. But what really means is that you're now at a point of awareness to go, okay, maybe I can't love my body today. We're kind of having a bad day. We all go through those, but could you come to respect or regard? Could you come to appreciation? And let there be, there's a cycle that's in the workbook that I teach. And so instead of going A to B, we go in a circle. So letting it be this ongoing process forever and ever. And hopefully we stay in one part of that a little more. And then, yeah, surround yourself with community. Surround yourself with women who want to invite this energy in, right? That feminine power, who want to, I guess, be in that like-minded spirit of we're not doing this one more day. So learning different language of how to complement each other and shifting that culture that is ever changing. If we can start to remain the more steady and say, we're not doing this anymore. And I'm going to talk to women differently. I'm going to maybe even groom your social media a little differently, because there's facts that show, and this is from even almost, I think, 10 years now, this statistic. So think about how much social media has changed. Think about how much social media has changed in 10 years. And they were saying that even just being on social media for 10 minutes, okay, you're just scrolling, and we all know we do more than 10 minutes a day. And so without specifically seeking out, so fashion, beauty, we're not even looking out for those types of pages, you will be affected in how you feel about your body, your skin, your hair, and your looks, just for 10 minutes of general scrolling without even looking for it. And that's like 10 years old as a statistic already. And I think that's pretty powerful. So my last tip is just to simply like, choose what you're putting in, choose what you're filling your container with. And so if you're following body positive accounts, if you're following other women who want to use like-minded language, and before and after pictures are like a really big deal and how it works in our minds. And so even right now, you're going to see a lot of before and after pictures, and it's not wrong. That's hard work, right? Like I can acknowledge someone's hard work. And so the language I will choose to use is more like, hey, I hope you're feeling great. That must have been a lot of hard work, instead of you look great, because there was nothing wrong with her in the first place. So even just choosing that like-mindedness and community support. All right. That's what I've got for some tips there. Does anybody have any questions or want to throw a specific issue out? It's okay if you don't. I didn't bring you here to have your personal story shared if you didn't want to, but I'm here to answer questions.
I don't know if I'm quite where Gina is and I want to be. Just with what you said. Um I'm I'm struggling because I gained so much weight this year, and I try not to look at it as weight gained. Although it's hard to get that number out of your head once you see it at the doctor's or whatever, but it's a lot of how I feel, but it always goes back to what I see in the mirror. So I'm struggling with how to love my body when I don't have energy, or I can't move as fast, or all this kind of stuff. Um, yeah.
So your goal is really just to feel, I think just from knowing you also, feeling alive, right? Like feeling that life moving through you and being present and being grounded. Um, and that's hard because it's hard to get away from scales. I honestly like threw my scale away quite a while ago, but like it's hard because there's the numbers that are acceptable, right? And a lot of that is just starting to unlearn it, unlearn what is, because it's become so moralized in our minds. It's become, this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, this is healthy, unhealthy. And so not judging our bodies or our health based on the container. And like you're saying, your word of balance, sorry if I'm getting on a tangent, but that word of balance is really what it's about. Of I, am I am I treating my body with regard, and am I um, using that word balance in a way that feels right, that feels true, that feels honoring? Yeah, I don't know. That's a big one. I'm like,
That's in that so that got me thinking also, because it's literally just I gained weight, because when you take my blood pressure, that's perfect. Like everything else is fine except for I'm carrying like 20% more body fat on my person than I have in the where I'm comfortable.
yeah. And sometimes, so something to be curious about when we look at our body as a whole, and remembering our container holds a lot of things. So it holds our spirit, our essence of us, but it also holds our story. It also holds all of our past history, our wounds, our traumas, all the things. Our body holds our stories and our memories. And so sometimes, and when you've looked outside of it, like medically, right? Um, Everything's okay, my blood pressure's good, my cholesterol's good, all these things, but things are just not shifting. My thyroid is okay. Like when we've looked outside of medical things and we can look in and go, what's the story? What's the story, body? And what are you holding for me? Sometimes our body will hold on to extra weight as a protective mechanism.
That's a reminder that I needed, because that's what we've been talking about for so long, but it's a piece that I always forget. That's the missing piece.
It's our body's job. If we look at that container's sole purpose, brain and body's job is to keep us alive. It cares about nothing else. It holds everything else, but it really doesn't care. Primal brain says, must keep human alive, and it will do that at all costs. And so then it sees the story and it makes memory of experiences and it goes, we need to protect and keep alive. And so sometimes that can look like constriction in the physical body. Sometimes that can look like holding on to, like we could go on a whole nother talk about why we hang on to weight around this idea of protection, because it could be you don't want to be looked at. It could be that it knows the same way that our beautiful female body knows, I need to hang on to a little, because what if I want to have a baby? I need to make life, right? Like it holds on to the things in different areas. So it does that same way for a lot of our emotional work too.
I just finished reading a book by Pete Walker. And it was called Complex PTSD. And so one of the last chapters was really interesting because I was just complaining to my husband the night before that I said, we were in bed and I said, I'm starving. Like, I am so hungry right now. And he was like, well, you ate dinner. Why don't you go eat something else? And I'm like, no, I can't because like, I can't. I already ate. And so I read this chapter in this Pete Walker book, and it said that people who have dealt with trauma, a lot of times they can feel intense hunger after they ate a big meal because it's actually craving affection, and it's a lower pain and not up a little higher where your stomach is. So I like that totally blew my mind. I had him listen to that and he was like, oh my gosh. There's so much related to our experiences and food and our bodies that I had never really realized before. And I think that's why I'm struggling with the body love now, because for me that's it. I mean, for a lot of us, I think it's the trauma and our experiences. But that was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, and it is our body, it tells our story, and we need to learn. It's really speaking a whole nother language. And we just have to like learn to find this awareness, learn to be curious about the messages that it's bringing to us. And that's a lot. I mean, that's the work that I do. So learning how to tune into some of those, and even that idea, that you could be craving affection or heart hungry, and where does your hunger live in your body? I think it's really great that you said it was a lower area and not actual like physical hunger. So where does that even live in your body? Good one. Good stuff. Thank you for sharing, Christina. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, an iPhone entered. Fine. Okay. Well, I would love to offer, I'm going to tell you a little about the program, and then I'm going to tell you, and then we'll just do a meditation just to kind of like enjoy our day. So yeah, much of what we're talking about, body love, body like acceptance, trauma, our experience, what the hell does our body want to say to us? This is the work. This is the work. And learning how to, if I could say I teach one thing in the program outside of like body love, respect, all the things, but it's how to tune in and observe yourself, like these deep mindfulness skills. So I don't know, you can definitely ask past participants about that, but that's something that people probably get annoyed with me saying because it's something that is so important to me. But well, what's your body want to say? What's your body want to do with this? I say it all the time. You're going to be probably sick of it too. Okay, so the program is 12 weeks. We meet together virtually weekly, just like this. And we spend some time together, usually start with some sort of movement activity or mindfulness activity, just to let our bodies settle. We work through workbook that I've written. And so it's journals, it's activities, there's a little bit of everything in there, but a lesson for each week. And we have beautiful discussions like this. And I love that part of it where we can go, oof, she feels that too. That's so important, because this is the other part of this tricky culture, is to make you feel isolated and alone. Because if you feel like you're the only one struggling in it, shame and guilt step in and they go, oh, we need to fix this. We need to make it better. And then you either go into that shame cycle or you're driven to fix it and take action, which always maybe isn't always like the most honoring. I can speak to that because I'm a queen of using exercise as punishment, as restriction, things like this, of earning things, so giving yourself rewards because you did so much. So remembering that community is a huge key, because They want to keep you isolated, feeling bad, because then you need it when they really need you. Okay, so 12 weeks we meet together. We have a beautiful community. And we have discussion, and then also weekly you're going to get a meditation sent to you that you can do 100 times, that you can do 0 times, but it's made available to you. And it's usually sort of related to whatever we're talking about this week. Like this week is our vision mapping week. We're getting towards the end of the session that's going on right now, so we're talking a lot about vision. You get 3 individual sessions, so you can use those Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, or you can use them once a month. You can use them however you want to use those sessions, but that time is yours to just chat with me, or to move with me, to do body work, things like that. There's tons of options of what we do in those one-to-ones. Yeah, so that is, like very simply, like what is happening in the group. We also have all of our communication is done in a private Facebook group, so that you have support outside of that once a week time. So if you're like, whew, just having a bad day, and you need to like have it somewhere, it's there. Or you see a funny meme and you're like, hey sisters, I feel this, you feel this, whatever happens, it's really whatever you want to choose, but that's where we do a lot of our communication and support. I also post mini trainings. And so most of the mini trainings that we've done this time have been on burnout, dealing with big emotion and how to move emotion through your body. We've done sex and body image. We have done grocery shopping. We have done, and then we have a body positive stylist coming in. That's the last one that's coming up, but how to not go to your closet and cry every day and feel like you hate your body and your clothes. So we have a body positive stylist that comes in and helps just give tips and tricks to how to work with your wardrobe. So yeah, mini trainings happen there. And then cost, it is $12.50 for the 12 weeks. That most definitely can get broken down into installments, as small of installments for as long as we need to make that happen, because I want it to be accessible. This is important. And then if anybody signs up today, Bree Luganbill has sent over some, I don't have them yet, but some really beautiful workbooks that she made about self-compassion and self-affirmation. And so there's little journal prompts, affirmations, beautiful coloring pages, just things to like spend some time with yourself. So you get a free one of those for signing up right now. So I would like to start probably in the next 2 weeks, like mid-January, once I feel like we've got the right configuration of people and everyone's had an opportunity to receive their workbooks. And then we kick it off for 12 weeks. And you'd be surprised at how fast that actually flies by. When you're done, you're invited to a graduate group, because really at the end of the 12 weeks, you're kind of fired up and you feel like you're just getting going, honestly. And so we've created a group just to have anyone who's been through the material, so that you have continued support for as long as you want. And then you get little mini trainings in there, encouragement. I'm hoping for a retreat if the world opens in 2021. And so, yeah, that's the people who get first cracks at all of that stuff too. All right. Any questions I can answer regarding that or specific material? I'm happy to screen share and show you the syllabus if you'd like. Anything that works for you guys.
I would love to see the syllabus. I would also love not to send you on down this path of like giving a big spiel and taking up all of this time, but I would love to know why this work is so important to you, and your background in that, and how you came to be this person for these people in all of these big ways, and why that's your thing.
Yeah,
because I've never met you, and
yeah,
I'm sure because it's Grand Rapids that we know the same people, because it's the biggest small town ever. But I would love to hear more about that.
Yes. Okay. My first disclaimer: bear with me on screen sharing. So if I disappear, I'll be back. Because we've only been doing this for months, and we should.
hard.
I should be an expert at this by now, but guess what? This is syllabus. Oop, there we go. If I can make it bigger, there we go. Can you read it?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, week 1, we jump right in and we talk about the thin ideal. We talk about why this is happening in our culture. A lot of what we've talked about today, but more. Week 2, much of this is actually driven off of like yoga principles. And so the 8 limbs of yoga, we talk about, a few of the lessons are based there. So we learn about self-observation, how to witness yourself, witness your thoughts, witness what's happening. We talk about self-care. We set up very practical, easy ways to do self-care in your life because it's really important and it's part of acknowledging your body and who you are. Because busyness, that's a whole nother talk. So we talk a little about shadow work and about the masks that we wear and how to come into a place of self-compassion surrounding the dark and the light. We have 2 built-in rest weeks so that people can catch up. So during those, instead of there being new material during week 5 and week 10, we just do like this nice, gentle little, like usually it's a yoga flow or some breathing. And we start to learn about how to work deeper in like limiting beliefs and how to break through some of those places of resistance. We talk about trauma. We talk about trauma and our bodies and stories. And because I think it's a really important part of that. We talk about movement because we can't not talk about movement. We talk about food because we can't not talk about food. And we do it from a place of love. We do it from a place of compassion. And there's no prescribed diet plan with this, and there is no prescribed exercise program with us. So what we do not do is try to lose weight during this program. If it happens because you're like, I like these yoga videos that she's sharing and I want to do yoga every day, that might happen, but we are not doing this as an intention of weight loss. We talk about vision and we do vision mapping. So these first 6 weeks are very much internal work. The last 6 weeks are very much external of now we see what we're going to do and what are we going to do with all this new information. And then we talk about body activism, which sounds a little weird, but it's really about now we understand deeply diet culture, how it's impacted me, and what I'm going to do to shift and change culture moving forward. In addition to that, because what the thin ideal really is asking of us is to be one type of body. This is the right body. And if you don't fit into that, then you're the wrong body. So that includes race, that includes gender identification, that includes disability, like body image goes way deeper and further than our actual like body and weight. So we have, this is actually, I really love this session. And then we end with an amazing ceremony. And I don't love to give details on ceremony because it's special for each person that gets to go through it. So it's a good time where we wrap stuff up. Okay. Questions about that before I share my story? Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay. So my story, forever, whether it's been based off of guilt, shame, or striving for perfectionism, I'm a very naturally competitive person. I played like college level sports. I love movement, but much of my young adulthood and teen years specifically revolved around restriction, revolved around disordered eating. And if I wasn't doing these things to be perfect enough, then what good am I? And that took a long time to like work through. In addition to that, working through my own trauma, working through childhood trauma, and adulthood trauma really didn't come to a forefront until like about 33-ish. I worked in healthcare for 18 years as a paramedic and as in a nursing role at the end. So witnessing a lot, dealing with a lot. And then I went through an abusive marriage where I was like, I'm out, threw a stick of dynamite in my life. More so, not because it was abusive. It took me a long time to like really even realize that, but because I wasn't feeling authentic in my life. I felt like I was being fake in everything that I did. And I just literally felt like I could not breathe. And I said, I can't do this anymore. Have some dynamite and blow it all up. And then when the rubble settled, it was all about sorting through and rebuilding. And that's really where like my pivotal healing started of we're just putting things back together and it's going to look different than it did before. And so coping mechanisms through that, I spent many a years down to my lightest adult weight of unhealthiness, of still hating my body, only filling it with tequila and no carbs and excessive running, excessive exercise, excessive sex, all these things that still were not filling me up. And so through my own process of yoga felt good. Yoga was a reward for me a lot. Like, hey, you ran 5 miles today and did a full like CrossFit workout. So you should get some rest and go to an hour of hot yoga, which if you've ever done that, you know that that's restful, but you also burn like 600 calories. So like, right, it's a lot of work. So that was my reward. And so on the flip side of that, yoga also felt extremely good to me. It was the one place where I could let my guard down, where I could feel safe, where my hypervigilance and some of my trauma could just be tucked away for a moment. And it just started like snowballing of this feels better to me right now than therapy does. So instead of paying my $20 copay, I would rather go pay my $20 to yoga. And so it just started snowballing and still needed my work in therapy, but that got me more and more curious. That led me into working towards my yoga teacher certification. And that work in itself, becoming a yoga teacher, is a ton of internal work that you just don't even think that's why you're going there. And that kind of surprises you and you're like, whoa, yoga teacher training is like, $3,500 worth of copays. So, right. So that prompted me on, and a couple of really beautiful teachers coming into my life and mentoring me, stepping alongside of me, but then watching new ways to honor my body and to rewire that. And then also to heal my trauma through that. When I started learning the science behind why it feels so good, why I could feel calm and let my hypervigilance have a rest in that space, learning the science behind that, I was like ignited with fire. And then one step further, then watching, once I kind of not on the other side of it, but with a new perspective, stepped into teaching, watching women in the yoga studio doing the same things, but also, and you're in the middle of yoga and they're meditating and checking their, oh, how many calories have I burned during this class? And, things like that. Or not feeling worthy of sitting in the front of the classroom. They needed to sit in the back of the classroom, things like that. And it made me very curious. And I read a book called Yoga from the Inside Out. And it's about this yoga teacher's struggle with needing to look like a yogi, and about her battle with disordered eating and things like that. And that really that was the pivotal moment. So that was 3 years ago when I wrote the very first version of this during snowpocalypse, when we were trapped inside and we thought that 3 weeks in our house was the worst time ever. Joke was on us. So I wrote that very first, it just poured out of me. I sat by the fireplace and wrote for about a month of just, what does it look like to really love your body? And where did all this come from? And so that was what sparked, and it's just been ever evolving. And the more I learn and the more that I've experienced that healing in my own body, to know that we can go talk about things over and over and over again at therapy. It's great. It's needed. It's an important space. But if we don't invite our body into it and befriend our body and allow it to tell its story of all the trauma and hurt that it's storing, it's going to just stay there. It's going to just stay stuck until we go, it's time. It's time to be curious, to befriend it, to listen to the messages and to let it out. So it's important to me. I believe it in my bones because I've experienced how good it feels to just go, I can just move freely and I don't care. I don't care if I'm jiggling. I don't care because I'm in this moment. I'm very present with my body and letting it have an experience. Yeah, that's my story. Thanks for listening to it.
Thank you. A lot of that resonates for sure.
So that's that. I would love to offer you just a meditation just so we can invite some goodness into our bodies. So I'm all about just being comfortable during meditation. So if you want to lay down, if you want to sit back in your chair, however you want to feel, but just find a way to be comfortable, to be supported. If you're safe and comfortable to close your eyes, do that. If not, just let them be soft and like down towards the ground. And we've taken in a lot of information just in this short time. So I want to just take a really big breath in, like one that lifts and fills your body, and then just open your mouth and send it all out. Okay, do one more like that. Big, big fill. Send it to all the little dark, creaky places. And then just let your body settle with that exhale. Just notice in this moment, just notice how you're feeling. That could be notice how you're feeling physically, aches, pains, temperature. You could also be noticing just anything that's bubbling up inside. There's no right or wrong to it. It's all information. And now see if you can just, with your next breath, shift yourself back to this moment. Noticing your body, just give it a little scan. Start down at your feet. Notice your feet, ankles, your legs, your hips. Just continue scanning, moving upward. Your stomach, back and chest, sides. Just mentally even scan your hands. Are they balled up and tight and tense? Can you just open them and soften, let them settle? Noticing your shoulders, your neck, your face. Noticing where is your body the most tense? Where is your body the most relaxed? Just see if you can notice both. Notice how your body relaxes bit by bit with very little effort, just letting ease and softness move through your body. Just think about what is body image. Maybe you think about a picture in your mind that you have of what your body looks like. Maybe it's the ideas you have about your body or your feelings about your physical self. Perhaps body image is something that you think you should be. What's that mean for you? Just take a moment, consider your thoughts and ideas. And how are you feeling right now? Even thinking about body image, what does that bring up for you? Are you neutral? Are you content, satisfied, dissatisfied, angry, accepting? Maybe even notice your physical body. Does it contract and start to bring more tension as we think about body image? It's okay to feel however you're feeling in this moment. What would it be like just to accept your body, how it is? What if you felt okay about your physical self? Think about a time in your life when you felt accepting of your physical self, or even just one part where you felt really good. Notice in your body what that felt like. What did that bring? Ease? Did it bring warmth? Did it bring life and this joyful feeling? Or maybe it was really hard to get to that place. You just honored that. Maybe you can't remember a time when you felt that way. That's okay too. Imagining accepting your whole body just as a container, and then also accepting yourself at your deepest, deepest level. Let's just step out of our thoughts. So moving our thoughts, letting them stay in our head, but now bringing our attention down into our body. So moving your thoughts and attention below your head, drop it down into your body. And take a nice big breath in. Open your mouth, just let it move out. Just let your breath move. Let that rhythm step in that your body offers. And if you're still noticing any tension, just bring your breath there. Maybe even if you need to, even just draw your hands there to a place that needs your attention. Imagining each breath brings a little more ease, and every exhale lets go of a little more tension. I'm just going to pour some affirmations over you. You can say them to yourself. You can say them out loud. You can just think along with it. Even if it doesn't feel true right now, or if it doesn't feel authentic to you, just let it soak over you, knowing that it's like planting a seed. I'm okay with the way that I am. I can accept myself the way I am. My body is acceptable just the way it is. I am an okay person. There's no need to be perfect. My imperfections make me unique. My body is a functioning whole. I'm a human having a whole experience, and humans have flaws. I can accept my imperfections. I free myself from judging my body. I accept and love myself. Now just take a note of how you're feeling in this moment. It's okay to feel however you're feeling. There's no right or wrong to it. Let your worries and tensions just move away, welcoming in that deepest, radical self-acceptance. Radical. Welcoming in that powerful feminine energy. Take a big breath in and let it go. Just starting to bring more awareness back to your body, coming back ready to move into our day. Maybe giving gentle movement to your body to wake up, moving your fingers, your toes. Whenever you're ready, just open your eyes, come on back. All right. That's a good way to start the new year. All right. Any questions I can answer for either of you? All right. Let's talk very soon. Reach out anytime and often. And I will talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you for your time and your
You're
input.
so welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
My
thanks,
pleasure.
Jen.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. You too.